Hello, it's been a while. I think in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to get volumetrics into your world, and it's going to create some cool fog. Let's get started. This is just a default scene right now, so I'm gonna quickly create maybe a tall tower. So using the default cube, what I'm gonna do is just tab into it, into edit mode, and let's just work with what we have. So I'm just gonna scale this down with S, drag this up here. I'll click on the center, hit I for border, and drag it here. It's a little bit different from extruding. This is what I use just to try and get a frame in here. And that looks about right. Hit E to extrude upwards. Hit E again to extrude, scale it out. I'm just going to do this pretty fast here since I want to showcase volumetrics rather than just modeling something. So this model itself is going to be pretty primitive, but it's if you have the basics of Blender down, maybe you might see some new workflow tricks with modeling, but I'm not going to explain too much of my modeling process here. It's again going to be very, very basic here. So this looks about something we can work with. Like that. Alright. What else should we add here? Maybe some, what do you call these? There was a specific term for these little, is it Castilians? I can't remember exactly. I'm not up to date with my anatomy of a turret. So let's go do this. Drag this here. Selecting this, since there's a 3D cursor here, what I'm going to do is create an array and a mirror around this just to save me time from copy and pasting. So to do that, I'll click on the box here. I'm going to go to Origin to 3D Cursor. You can see the hotkeys Shift Control Alt C, Finger Gymnastics. Click on that, and now it's here. So if I go into the modifiers and add a mirror tool, you can see it's mirrored over here. I'll do the same with the Y-axis, and it's all around here. Now, what happens if I do an array tool? Well, it's going to array it this way. So what we need to do is drag this back up, and then we can do it like this. -2. Oh, meh. Alright. But what happens if you want it this way? Well, we need to add another array. And we'll just drag this one back up. I'm using 2.9. Before, you used to have to click an up arrow key. Alright, and now we're going to do it in the, we can see here, green Y. So 1, we said 2. Alright, cool. Bring this way. That's kind of neat. There's some in the middle, but that's fine. Once I'm happy with this, I can just click on one, and you can see everything's going to be edited in real time, which is handy for us, because we can make cool, complex things quite easily. The illusion of detail. Let's drag this up like this. Again, I'm just creating something really fast here. Edges, let's just bevel this here. Maybe we should bevel this upwards a bit. Add a little cut there. Cool. And now I'm just going to hit apply all. And I'm going to select these center ones because I don't need those. And yep, delete those. Alright, cool. And let's just merge these together, and here is our tower. I'm going to quickly create a plane like this, and then we could, what else could we do here? We could, oh, something cool, yes. Let's go with an empty. Where are you? Empty plane arrow. And you can see the empties right here. Now for this to work, you have to apply a scale like this. And what that does is it zeroes out your scale. Oh, sorry. Turns it to 1. Because if you have a funky scale, this kind of process might not work. So we'll do that again here with this scale. Select this array. Again, this is all optional. Maybe you might learn something here. And then we're going to go to Object Offset. We're going to select our empty. And now, if we move our empty up and rotate it, scale it down, move it up, and then we could increase our count, it's going to keep repeating. So we can get a very cool, complex tower quite fast. We can scale it up. I kind of like that. Well, maybe we could have it a little bit more 75, 17, sorry, 45. So that's a little bit more math. There we go. Cool. All right, our funky tower. And we can scale this around. You can see it does. Oops, wrong one. All right. So we have this down. Let's check out our viewport. We want something menacing. So we can have something like this here. And then I want something in the background like a mountain. There are some cool add-ons. This one just adds landscape. So I'm just going to hit add landscape. I'm fine with the default. I just need something in the background. And then drag this down like this. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Let's just rotate this way. And then you can kind of like merge it in. Again, these assets aren't going to really be used in an interactive way, so you can, you can cheat. It's fine. What matters is the narrative and the frame in the end. So you can have lots of like funky stuff in the back. It's all right. All right. Oh, you can see that it's not showing everything. That's because the clipping is kind of low in the camera, so we can access that with the camera here. And let's just do something 2,500. And now everything's there. So let's take a look again. That looks kind of cool. So if we go here, we can see there's a single light source. And it's all gray. And you can see it's casting the gray bounce light around. We can get rid of that by just changing the color to black. And that's accessed with the world properties right here. Excellent. So we're going to go back to the viewport shading so we can see what we're doing. And we can assign very basic materials. So we're just going to create new, and this can be like this, like this. And we can assign that material here, same thing here. And then we go here, and let's just maybe, yeah, like a red tower. And that looks good. Okay. We're just going to have this right here. So we go back here, can't see anything. We can add in, I like area lights, because I'm very familiar with how they work. There they are. And I just kind of like how it like kind of kisses the land here. Ooh, that's looking kind of cool. All right. Now, but Alan, you said volumetrics. All right. To access the volumetrics, click the top left and change the editor type to shader editor. You'll see that it's an object. We're going to switch that to world mode. The world is black right here. This is just the shortcut here is just you can change anything from here to here. So what I mean by that, when you have the world properties black, you can change this color to anything and it reflects it over here. This is just a shorthand here. But we have a new node here called volume. So we're just going to access that, and we're going to add a volume scatter, and we're going to connect that here. And now everything is in fog, but the density is 1, which means no light is passing through. So we can do 0.5 just to see what it does. Still too thick. How about 0.2? Still too thick. What you need to do is go to like 0.02, 2 decimal places, and now we're starting to see some cool effects happening. You can see, like, if I hide this, we can see where the light's emitting from. Now, this is great if you have warehouses where there's a light source, but for me, I just want the fog to exist. Because this, to me, this little speck of light is a little undesirable for my own aesthetic tastes. So to fix that, I'm going to go into the render properties, and in volumetrics, you can play around with light clamping. And you can see what happens when you slowly shift around here. You can see how it's just actually clamping that way, and it gets rid of that light right there. You can also turn in volumetric shadows, which then starts trying to emit shadows in certain areas. The light itself also takes, so the fog color, you can switch it around from white to blue and stuff like this, but it's kind of tinting the light itself. Now what I mean by that is if I select the area light and switch it to like a different color, you can see what's happening. So if I switch it to blue and let's say go to red, you can see it's starting to create these kind of like alien looking things here. It's messing with the light waves. I don't know too much about this. All I know is like if you mess with the color of the light and mess with this, you can get very cool looking effects, and that's what I'm after. I'm sure there's a science behind it with light waves and all that, but I'm here as an artist person trying to make something cool looking. So we can play around with this. Usually best to keep it default here just so you understand what's happening this way. So we can play around with this. We can move the light around, trying to get some spooky looking lights. So we can have it up here, and we can go here and turn on bloom if you want. You can see it's kind of blooming a bit. Let's add another light source. We can put a point light. You can see right here, and you know, you can start blowing things up like this. You can make things go behind, make it look really biblical if you need to. See how the colors mixing? That's really cool. This is the kind of stuff I'm after in my own work. It's like, how can I make something like this? Oh, that is so cool. Again, we can manipulate this a bit smaller if we don't want it to be too foggy. So if you can move around, you can see other things. That's kind of nice with the lighting here. That's a cool thing about Eevee, because it's all real time, so you can start changing the composition if you want. I have these mountains back here, so I just kind of want something to just slightly touch it a bit in terms of lighting. So if we go back here, we can see, maybe if I do it, again, these values to me are pretty arbitrary actually. Just use the power in a sense of what you think will look good. I kind of like fantastical lighting. I don't like to ground my own work in reality too much, so I like using tons and tons of different lights and colors. Almost like a stage play. I always bring it up with a few friends where I like to light things as if it's on a stage. So we can have a bit of red. You can see how it's just slightly peeking out. That's beautiful. Or we can have like a nice blue, which, oh, maybe actually green. Let's try that out. Nope, that's too bright for me. There we go. Yeah. All right. So basically, that's about it. I mean, there's other cool things we can do where we can create, if I show this again, we can create a cube, and we can assign this a foggy material. So if I go here, and go back to object, remember it's selected here, delete this, we can add in a volume scatter, but that might be a little too hard on some people's systems. So if I go 0.02, 0.03, you can see we're adding a little bit of extra fog here. 0.05, so we can have like a mist on the ground here. I know people have used emissions for quote-unquote cheap fog, like this, because it doesn't really take into account how the light's being distributed. 0.01. And what's cool with the strength now that's in a fog is you can actually assign a texture to this to manipulate the way the fog is, so you can have a bit of a texture. It's so cool. Like, look at this. We can add in a noise texture, add into the factor here, and if we scale this like this, oh, actually, the funny thing is I have to add a color ramp. So what's happening is we need to, there you go. So you can see the noise itself was all white, and there was a lot of grayscale, but with emissions, especially with fog, you want to have more distinction between the values. So you want more darks and more whites, or lighter values. So now we can see fog stuff coming in like this, and we can play with the scale, create more like that, and just have it like really mysterious in the background. You can change the lighting like this, you can change the distortion, and this is like a cool way to get some really cool looking wisps. Now we can change the color here to something like this, and the darker we go, the less it'll show up. So we can just have something in the background. However, if you do want this kind of texture to reflect or catch the light, we have to use the volume scatter, so we can bring this color into the density into the volume. And now you can see it's catching the light like this all around. That is beautiful. Now, it can take a while to render, depending on how many samples you have. But if you're just doing stills, I think this would look really cool. Oh, it looks so good. Alright. Hopefully we've learned something. Sorry if I talked a little bit too much there, but I love showing people this kind of stuff. Like, look at this. Look. Oh, my goodness. It's beautiful. Alright. Thank you.